Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Next up, we have Carnegie Mellon. Dun 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 dun. All right.
Hi, I'm Bryn. This is Winnie, Sarah, and Juwan. We're from Carnegie Mellon University School of Design. When people come together, they do amazing things. And digital technology has the power to magnify this greatness. But too often, we get so involved in our digital world that we lose sight of what's going on in our own backyard. Presenting Seedlings. Seedlings is a system that uses data to help people who care contribute to their local communities. It addresses needs, cultivates relationships, and helps people build knowledge. There are other systems out there which help people meet one another, work together, or donate. But what the focus of Seedlings really is on pushing people out into their local communities. It helps people collaborate, and it fosters positive social change. So how did we come up with Seedlings? We started by exploring the realm of the community and civic engagement. We read literature, we interviewed, we volunteered at local community organizations, and we conducted generative research.
So from our research, we create 4 personas based on their engagement in their community and their skills. We have the professional, the leaders, the regular, and the warm body. Here we choose to focus on warm body because he has the most potential to grow. We call him Water. Water is recently a college student and moved to Pittsburgh for a new job. He really wants to meet the new people there and wants to do something good to his community, but he doesn't know where to start. He dabbles into volunteering before and really enjoys it, but at the same time, he wants to choose the levels of the engagement and he wants to see his impact. Here, Water meets Seedlings, and our story starts. Let's see.
All right, now that we saw how Walter experiences the system, let's take a closer look at what's actually happening. At the core of Seedlings, everything is driven by data, and this data comes from several different places. There's publicly available community data, there's personal data that comes in from places like Facebook and LinkedIn, and there's also data that is curated through the Seedlings platform itself. Building on this data, Seedlink users like Walter are able to create, nurture, and celebrate projects. When creating a project, previous project data is piped into the system to offer tips and tutorials about how to make the project as successful as possible. When nurturing a project, there are several different ways that people can contribute. For example, we saw Walter contribute online by joining a collaborative to-do list, and we also saw him attend the local event where he was able to use the mobile app to track his data and connect with other Seedlink members. After the project was done, Walter was able to celebrate with his team and see their contribution to the community. They were able to see how many trees they planted and how many hours they donated. Walter is also able to track his own personal growth on his dashboard. He can see his connections and his achievements over time. The next part to the system is the Commons. This is the knowledge management portion of the system that is built for and by the people, and it is free and open to all. Within the Commons, there are three main components. There's a wiki page, a forum, and a mentorship link where you can have real-time conversations with more experienced users to make sure that your projects are successful. So obviously Walter uses the system, and people like Walter because they are the core of the community and they know what's going on where they live. But they're not the only ones. With Seedlings, people like Walter can connect with their local business, other nonprofit organizations, and groups to help the community.
So Seedlings really empowers communities and allows them to leverage data to identify and address their real needs, to cultivate relationships, and to build knowledge by taking a local, collaborative, and open approach. And we think this is really exciting, but we also know that from our research that getting people to come together to work towards a common good is really challenging. So Seedlings addresses this in three different ways. First, we facilitate trust. Data is open and available, so Walter can make sure that projects are worthwhile, and he can also assess the credibility of organizers by looking at user profiles, which lists achievements as well as peer feedback. Next, we motivate socially. So we pull Walter into Seedlings using his existing relationships, and then we help him create new ones so that we can continue to motivate him intrinsically. And finally, we encourage users to learn and share. So Walter learns by getting involved in projects, and then he passes on this knowledge to the rest of his community through the Commons. So Seedlings gives neighbors like Walter the agency to take action and to strengthen their communities. But imagine what could happen if local communities across the nation could pool their resources and knowledge for the greater good. And what if we could continue that open connecting and sharing on an even greater scale? Well, then we could change the world. So let's get started in our own backyards. Thank you.
I love the sentiment of what you're doing. I'm really curious in my own life as to why the things like the local cafe, which so many people use around me, don't have things like this up inside it. And equally, there's a thing called Code Club running in the UK where a similar kind of thing is facilitating people to teach code in schools. So I'm split between whether you need an enormous amount of press and PR to actually get something like this to really work in our society, or whether the fact that it doesn't seem to happen in my local cafes in the street there's a real problem as to maybe I'm just split between these 2 points of view a bit, and yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Do you want to say anything about the...
I mean, I'm the same, I think. I love the idea of trying to get people to join in and solve local problems and improve the environment around where they live. I'm sort of curious, which bit of the app does lots of things. I'm just wondering which you see as the most important bit. Is it the drawing attention to opportunities in the neighborhood that someone can volunteer to help out with? Or is it all the kind of incentivizing and reward systems that in a way sort of socially pays back the volunteer?
I guess I would say it's kind of hard to tell in the sense that we really see them as both of those things working together. Yeah, because what was the first part of what you said?
It was more like showing all the different things in a neighborhood that if someone has the time and the will that they might not be aware of, and this draws their attention to it. So that could be one step. But then you go much further and provide incentives, feedback, and I'm wondering, I guess, is your view of humans that we sort of need to be paid, even if it's not in money, but in sort of rewards in order to help our neighborhoods?
I guess we were thinking of it as more feedback. So less kind of like, oh, we're rewarding you for this, and more, oh, we're providing a space for you to share with each other. And so like that would naturally, hopefully, reward people, but we think of it less as like, oh, we're rewarding you, and more as, you know, if people really are communicating and giving each other feedback and having time to reflect, then that can kind of happen within this process.
So just, are we going? Yeah. Just a quick comment. I mean, I find it really interesting. So we live in a society where increasingly everybody wants everything to be free, and yet we're not very giving. And it's interesting that you need this type of catalyst in order to balance the equation, so you can actually give as well as take for free. And it's really interesting. The one question I do have is, how, if I have a project that has a need, you didn't talk much about how, you talked about the volunteer side view of it. Could you quickly summarize if I was the one in need?
Sure.
One separate project?
Right. So you're saying if you create a project, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Right. So if you know how to do the project, then you can just go ahead and set it up and try to leverage people around you to join in on that project. And they can do everything from sharing a link to raise awareness. They can sign up to bring supplies, or they can actually attend whatever this project is. But if you don't know how to actually make the project happen, and you don't know what the steps are or what is actually needed, then that's where we would pull in data from other projects that are happening anywhere else. And it can be like, well, if you're trying to plant a garden, it's like, well, in Seattle, this is how they did it. Would you like to try these things? And it kind of pushes you along in the right way.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.